All right, got an exciting topic to talk to you today about crabgrass and why crabgrass shows up in places that it shows up. In this yard right here, this part of the yard is very healthy, very thick, healthy St. Augustine, and this part of the yard is not thick St. Augustine, and lo and behold, it happens to be the weediest part of the yard. And so, one really interesting thing that I would like to say is that I've been doing this as a professional, weed control as a professional for 16 years. Never one time, never once have I seen crabgrass to show up in centipede or St. Augustine that's healthy. There's not going to be crabgrass in this area right here. There is crabgrass in this spot right here. The best way to keep crabgrass out of centipede and St. Augustine is to keep your centipede and St. Augustine healthy. If you or us realizes that you have crabgrass, we need to have a conversation about it, because the difficult thing with keeping crabgrass out of a place that it's gotten a foothold is when you prevent the crabgrass, you prevent the runners. And so really the best way to deal with crabgrass and centipede and St. Augustine is to first kill it, which we can do, and then to resod it. Because if you put out a technical crabgrass pre-emergent centipede St. Augustine, you're going to end up causing more harm than good. I thought that was the craziest idea about 7 or 8 years ago. I was talking to a guy who's been in the industry for decades, and we were treating his yard, and he said, you know, centipede used to take over Bermuda grass, because I was talking to him about how Bermuda grass takes over centipede. And that got my wheels turning and helped me to start getting on this path of understanding, of realizing that, yeah, if you put out crabgrass pre-emerge on centipede and St. Augustine, you're going to favor the Bermuda and zoysia more, because crabgrass will come up in Bermuda grass, and sometimes depending on what type of zoysia grass that you have. Centipede St. Augustine, some of you may be thinking, hold up, he doesn't put crabgrass pre-emerge in my centipede St. Augustine, and the answer is we don't put the same crabgrass pre-emerge. We do have you on a program to prevent crabgrass, but we don't put out the specific crabgrass preventer or killer unless we know it's there, because it actually can cause more harm than good. So I would like to just take a minute to explain the conundrum. I call it the Crabgrass Conundrum. So you got a wet spot in a yard like this. St. Augustine, more than any of the turf grasses that we have, does not tolerate what I like to call wet feet. If it stays wet, it's going to almost certainly get disease in the spring and fall. Crabgrass is going to come into that spot. And then next March, before the St. Augustine is able to fill in, the crabgrass seeds are going to already be there, and so they're going to take over that spot, and now they're going to be there year after year after year. And either you're going to prevent the crabgrass and the St. Augustine at the same time, and so it's just still going to be a bare area, or it's going to fill up with carpet grass or wild violet, or you can kill the crabgrass and then put new sod. That's really the best way to go about it. All right, so this area right here, there's almost no St. Augustine in it, and guess what's filled it up? Crabgrass. This crabgrass, I mean, it's already almost completely filled this area, and as the spring goes on in the summertime, it's going to just really be a thick mat of green, but it's going to be green crabgrass. It simply comes up wherever there's not thick, healthy turf grass. All right, so we're at the same yard, just on the other side of the driveway, and again, we're at a low spot. The drains are connected here, and this is just a neat place to point out that zoysia grass and Bermuda grass can tolerate the wetness. This is mostly zoysia, but as you're considering, perhaps what kind of grass to put in different parts of your landscape, one of the downsides with Bermuda and zoysia is it does allow more weeds in, but it's thick, and as soon as you deal with these weeds, it's going to be a really thick and healthy grass that can tolerate excessive wetness way better than St. Augustine. Make sure you know the difference in crabgrass and Dallas grass. Okay, that's very important in this whole conversation. But it is a conversation that we have every year, and it's an important one to understand, and we'll be happy to talk to you more about it. There's a lot more to say about it, but thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you next time.